Sometimes in the case of the first one, it says, we will listen to what everyone has to say. Sometimes that's the most difficult thing, because sometimes you do not like what the other person is saying. I've been in situations where I've cringed and I thought, I really want to get out of here because what that person is saying is completely and utterly against my principles. But I've had to put my tongue between my teeth and say, well, actually, it may well be that there is somebody in this room that does not like what I have to say, you know. And so it's important to almost allow yourself to be present and hear the other person's views and agree to disagree. Sometimes that can be destructive when people refuse to listen. We will be honest in what we say. Sometimes, like the first one, honesty is very difficult. And I suppose we all have our own examples of when we've had to really look at ourselves and where we're coming from. We will speak positively of our own faith rather than negatively of other people's. It depends how you look at that. When people look at this, what do they think? We will speak positively of our own faith rather than negatively of other people's. What does that raise for people?
Avoiding stereotypes.
Avoiding stereotypes. Anything else? Is it okay to be critical and question things that we don't understand within our own faith? Because I certainly know for young people, they have all sorts of questions. So it's all about constructive questioning as well. We will respect other people's views even if we disagree with them. Okay, we will not treat people here as a spokesperson for their faith. One of the things that's consistently talked about is, especially where the Muslim community is concerned, is who are the leaders in the Muslim community? With the church, you've got the Archbishop of Canterbury, you've got the head of the Catholic Church. Who is it that is a leader in the Muslim community? And the media in particular struggle with that. Because because in the Muslim community, there is no one voice. There are multiple voices. Muslims are not a homogeneous group. Sometimes people make the mistake of assuming that as Muslims it's one voice, and there isn't. So who do we tap into? We will not tell other people what they believe, but allow them to tell us. And I suppose in a sense that's connected with the first point. We will acknowledge both the similarities and differences between our faiths. It seems like a fairly obvious one, but I think it's how we deal with the differences and make ourselves aware of the commonalities, especially where the Abrahamic faiths are concerned. We will not judge people here by what some people of their faith do. The classic example of all Muslims are jihadists in the sense of extremists and terrorists. It's fairly obvious that not all are. And yet people, entire communities are judged. So in a sense, it's an obvious example there. We will not try and force people to agree with our views. It goes back to the classic quote, there is no compulsion in religion. And this idea of Professor Tariq Ramadan's of encouraging this climate or atmosphere of critical thinking and openness. It's something that as a Muslim community in particular, you've got the City Circle and the Radical Middle Way that are opening up discussions within communities, you know, and beginning to do that really well. We can ask for a discussion to be stopped if we feel uncomfortable with what is being said. That takes confidence at times. And at times, depending on how questions are being asked, their reaction is that there's automatically, they put up the walls, there's a defensive reaction, you know. But how can you do that sensitively and with respect? We will make an effort to get along with everyone, regardless of their faith, gender, race or age. I think that's fairly self-explanatory. We're going to move swiftly on, and actually looking on the back of faith, gender, race or age, I think the next exercise will help us to look more closely at some of those issues.
Thank you. Part of the reason for having these guidelines is very much this idea about creating a safe space. And what we've learned over the years is with the young people, by giving these guidelines at the start of where we do things, actually they start to relax because they can see this isn't a free-for-all. This isn't a big slanging debate thing. They're not going to get pushed into a corner. And only once have I ever had to ask a discussion to be stopped when a girl said to me, I'm being asked to defend my faith in a way that I can't answer their questions. I'm being made to feel uncomfortable. And we said, fine, we'll stop. But it meant there was like this safety net. it's not just going to go anywhere, this discussion. You will be safe. And we found actually by having the sort of the parameters, the boundaries, the discussions flowed more than if it was just a sort of free-for-all.